cover. He's on his first journey on his new job on the riverboats, and we worry about him, but he's excited about it, and he's on his new career, and he's getting to see a lot of new sights up and down the river. So, and also I have Miss Ruth Hardiman on here, and I'm open up the list to whoever. Mildred, yes, you told me about her, and I meant to put her on there. Anyone else?
Hey, Dave?
Yes, sir.
The camera's not on. Where's the control on? Where's the control?
The green light's on.
Okay, well, it's not showing up. That's what I want.
Okay, anyone else have anything to put on the prayer list?
Is Joyce Barnett on there?
Joyce Barnett, I do not have.
Travel mercies for our crew, Dave.
Travel mercy
Coming back
for James and Amy.
Yeah, they're in North Carolina.
Okay.
My friend Linda Williamson, who's recovering from surgery.
Linda Williamson.
Also, Bo Roberts,
Bo Roberts.
who's recovering from surgery.
Anyone else? I'd like to add to that all of our, choose my words right, afflicted. Heavenly hosts, praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
We ask the Lord to be with this offering to the building of your kingdom. We ask you to go with us through this service by studying this brings blessings. We will not fail to give you the praise. We ask in your name. Amen.
We'll have some music by the choir, and anyone knows this God Bless America, please just sing along with us if you will.
We'll think it through twice. Chorus through twice. Sing the chorus through twice. Come on.
Starting with the course.
Chorus, no, just sing the chorus through twice.
Sing the course through twice.
Starting with God Bless You.
Can you tell we didn't practice this week?
I didn't say chorus first. I said,
You did.
no, I said we'll sing through the chorus
Yeah.
twice.
And then you said something.
We're starting out.
That's not true. I was like, oh.
That's not what I meant.
You messed up.
With the storm clouds.
I'm sorry that wasn't that's gonna happen.
We're good now.
Good thing we're not online.
Oh, yay.
Will y'all help me?
I think so.
That was the reason.
Hey, Brandon. Brandon. Go back first.
When I saw this, I thought we don't practice.
Just sing this and then
Sing
the chorus.
it, and then starting the chorus at God Bless America.
Verse first. Okay, we got
I
it.
downloaded it, didn't download it.
Okay.
We didn't practice either, so it was like,
The course.
God's people have more fun than anybody, don't they?
you didn't have high expectations anyway. I don't think.
Let's just go with the God Bless America. Start there and go through it twice.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Stand beside her.
Yeah, we got it.
We're gonna sing or not?
Yeah,
Y'all wanna start?
yeah.
Y'all wanna sing?
By request, we're going to bring back those dynamic Dixon boys.
Who starts the chorus first, right?
Somebody else pick.
So,
Hello.
I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All the storm that rages, rich in love I'm raised, far from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Through my disappointment, strife and discontentment, I cast my every care on the Lord. No matter what obsession, pain or deep depression, I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All the storm that rages, rich in love I'm raised, but not from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Even though he's gone now, I don't feel alone now. With comfort came the Spirit of the Lord. Now with His word to guide me, from all temptation hide me, I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All the storm that rages, rich in love I'm raised, but not from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Now I'm pressing onward, each step leading me homeward. I'm trusting in my Savior day by day. And close is our relation, firm is our foundation. So on the solid rock I stay. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All the storm that rages, rich in love I'm raised, not from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. I'm standing on the rock of ages, safe from every storm. All the storm that rages, rich in love I'm raised, not from Satan's wages. I'm standing on the solid rock. Amen.
Somewhere.
If someone asked you how to explain God, how would you do it? How would you explain God to someone else? Well, I'm going to give you a little insight on how a little 8-year-old boy did it. And they were asking him, when given a third grader homework assignment to explain God, this is what 8-year-old Danny Dutton of Chula Vista, California, had to say. One of God's main jobs is making people. He makes them to replace the ones that die, so there will be enough people to take care of the things on earth. He doesn't make grown-ups, just babies. I think because they are smaller and easier to make. That way, he doesn't have to take up all his valuable time teaching them to talk and walk. He can just leave that to mothers and fathers. God's second most important job is listening to prayers. An awful lot of this goes on since some people, like preachers and things, pray at times besides bedtime. God doesn't have time to listen to the radio or TV because of this. God sees everything and hears everything and is everywhere, which keeps him pretty busy. So you shouldn't go wasting his time by going over your mom and dad's head asking for something they said you couldn't have. Atheists are people who don't believe in God. I don't think there are any in Chula Vista. At least there aren't any that come to our church. Jesus is God's son. He used to do all the hard work while walking on water and performing miracles, and people finally got tired of him preaching to them, so they crucified him. But he was good and kind like his father, and he told his father that they didn't know what they were doing and to forgive him, and God said, okay. His dad, God, appreciated everything that he had done and all his hard work on earth, so he told him he didn't have to go out on the road anymore. He could stay in heaven, so he did. And now he helps his dad by listening to prayers and seeing things which are important for God to take care of, and which ones he can take care of himself without having to bother God. Like a secretary, only more important. You can pray anytime you want, and they are sure to help you because they got it worked out, so one of them is on duty at all times. You should always go to church on Sunday because it makes God happy. And if there's anybody you want to make happy, it's God. Don't skip church to do something you think will be more fun, like going to the beach. This is wrong. And besides, the sun doesn't come out at the beach till about noon anyway. If you don't believe in God, besides being an atheist, you will be very lonely because your parents can't go everywhere with you, like to camp, but God can. It's good to know he's around when you're scared in the dark or when you can't swim and you get thrown into real deep water by big kids. But you shouldn't just always think of what God can do for you. I figure God put me here and he can take me back anytime he pleases, and that's why I believe in God. You can't put it much plainer than that. Dave?
Well, I guess we may as well have the closing song and prayer because can't get no better than that. We're not going to top that. I got a couple things I want to read before we get into this morning's message that I ran across. Like I said, it is, as we know, Memorial Day, and we're here. It's a Memorial Day weekend, I should say. It is time to honor our veterans for what all they've done for us. And I've got a couple of short things I want to read. Since World War I, the red poppy has been a symbol of remembrance and a way of honoring those who served and lost their lives in war. Veterans groups such as the American Legion distribute millions of red crepe paper poppies and encourage people to wear them on National Poppy Day, which is the Friday before Memorial Day each year. But how did the red poppy become such an iconic flower? In the fierce battles, artillery battles, and trench warfare in the Western Front of World War I, in the Flanders region of Belgium, it was the decimated landscape. In 1915, the second year of the war, soldiers began to take note of the red flowers that sprang up in the killing fields around them. They must have seemed like a miracle to them. Common poppies, Papaver need light to germinate, and they can lay dormant for up to 80 years or more in the soil if undisturbed. Lime from the destroyed buildings and nitrogen from the bombs fertilized them, and they began to bloom in abundance in those killing fields. And in the spring of 1915, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian doctor serving as a medical officer for the 1st Canadian Field Artillery, sat overlooking a mass grave site. He took out pen and paper and wrote what would become one of the most enduring poems of World War I in Flanders Field. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard above the guns below. McCrae's poem was first published in Punch magazine and widely reprinted. A YMCA war volunteer, Moina Michael, had seen the poem before, but in November 1918, 2 days before the armistice was declared, she ran across it again. And it was a pivotal moment in the history of the red poppy. In her autobiography, The Miracle Flower, she described the moment as a full spiritual experience in which she vowed always to wear a red poppy in remembrance, as a sign of remembrance. Another short story I'd like to read to you. I'd never read this before. I'm sure we've all read the poem from Flanders Field, but this really interests me. I'd never heard it before, and it's called Italian Sons and Daughters of America. Sergeant John Basiloni, who General MacArthur called a one-man army, was the only U.S. Marine to be awarded both the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross, our country's 2 highest awards for military bravery. During the Battle of Henderson Field in Guadalcanal, Basiloni, with only his machine gun, a pistol, and a machete, held off a Japanese regiment of 3,000 soldiers for nearly 2 days until reinforcements arrived. Later, Basiloni was present for the first day of the Battle of Iwo Jima. The Japanese, who were fortified in a blockhouse, fired on the U.S. Marines as they landed on the island. His unit was pinned down, so he headed out alone, making his way around the side of the Japanese position until he was directly on top of the blockhouse, which he single-handedly destroyed with grenades and demolitions. Then he fought his way through the open ground to safely guide a Marine tank through an enemy minefield, all while under fire. During his effort, he was killed by Japanese mortar shrapnel and is remembered as one of the greatest heroes of World War II. Interesting story. Now let's remember this. There has only been 2 defining forces who have offered to die for you. Jesus Christ and the American soldier or sailor. One died for your soul and the other for your freedom. Let's thank them. I wish all the veterans would stand up. Would you please stand, all veterans? Or anyone representing the veterans family? Anyone who's had veterans in their family? I'd like to thank you all for your service and your dedication. And without you all, we wouldn't be here, we know. So thank you again. We'll never be able to thank you enough. So like I was saying before about the graduates, continue seeking Jesus. Well, what does that mean? Seeking Jesus means making him the #1 priority in your life. God gives us an open invitation to have an amazing relationship with him. And in his fatherly love, he gives us a choice to accept this invitation or to decline it. What we know as free will. His door is open wide, and it's up to us whether we enter or not. As Christians, we might be tempted to gloss over this invitation and assume that we're already seeking him because we love him and we generally follow the commandments, right? But there's so much more to seeking Jesus. Let me quickly read over a few verses. Jeremiah 29:13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Deuteronomy 4:29. But if from there you seek the Lord your God, you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. 1 Chronicles 16:10. Glory in his name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. 1 Chronicles again in 22:19. Now devote your heart and soul to seeking your God. 1 Chronicles 28:9. If you seek him, he will find you. 2 Chronicles 12:14. He did evil because he had not had his heart set on seeking the Lord. Psalm 14:2. The Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. And finally, Psalms 34:10. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Seeking Jesus is about pursuing a relationship with him. Christians can get lulled into being satisfied with their relationship with God. But seeking means actively pursuing more. We can use human relationships as an example to demonstrate the concept. Let's compare your hypothetical relationship with your mother versus your sister's, say, hypothetical relationship with her. You and your sister both love your mother. You call your mother every few weeks, send her flowers on Mother's Day, visit her at Christmas and maybe Easter. You take her to lunch on her birthday. You're a good child and you feel that you have a good relationship with your mom, and you do. But your sister checks on your mom almost every day. She attends church with her. She spends a lot of vacation time with her, brings her snacks. She takes time to drive mom to the doctor appointments. Which one of you is most likely will feel closer to your mother? Which one of you really know her? Which one of you might feel more connected and fulfill your relationship with mom? You rest in your relationship with mom while your sister actively nurtures her relationship with your mom. She seeks it. We reap what we sow in any relationship, and it's no different with God. As Christians, we love God. Maybe we spend our first or last waking moments of our day in prayer. Maybe we go to church. We mostly obey the commandments. God loves us and we love him. But when we seek him, we nurture a relationship. We don't just say mechanical prayers. We feel and we mean every word, praying from the heart, speaking the words directly to him. We don't plan our grocery list or a child's birthday party while listening to the sermon. We actively listen. We make time for God, praying without ceasing. That means throughout the day. We fill our schedule around him. We don't just try to squeeze him in around our schedule. We make time to be still and we listen. We meet him in silence. We read his word. We make God the priority that he should be. The more that we seek him, the more we know his voice. Now, does that mean that Jesus loves those that seek him more than those who don't? No. Jesus is by our side no matter what, if we have our minds and hearts focused on him. The only difference is when we seek him, we hear and we see what had previously been oblivious, we had been oblivious to. Seeking opens the door to a more beautiful relationship, and it brings Jesus happiness as well. He is waiting for each and every one of us just beyond our human comprehension. Open your heart and your mind and find him. Have you ever prayed in desperation for a miracle? Maybe for a dying loved one or someone who's been in a terrible accident? We should seek Jesus with that same urgency, that much power and that much relentlessness. That longing to really know Jesus comes from our deepest and innermost being. Jesus is a journey into our own heart and soul. It is not about the bells and whistles of showing the world what a great Christian we are. Just like there's no exact way for seeking a deep relationship with your mother, we choose the ways that make sense for us when we seek Jesus. There is no formula for growing closer to Jesus. But let's look at a few ways that we can get started. In 2 Corinthians, it tells us that as a fair exchange, I speak as my children. Open wide your hearts also and return your love. Seeking is an exercise of the heart. There are almost no external signs when you are seeking. Close your eyes and rest quietly and in a peaceful place in your mind's eye. Feel him there. See him there. Go deep inside and have a beautiful union with God in your own heart. Let's also look at 1 Thessalonians. When you seek God, he is your first priority. You don't fit a prayer into your day. You fit your day around your prayers. He should be your first thought of the day and come to your mind all throughout the day. And he can even be a cure for insomnia. Prayers are to be spoken from the heart directly to God. Just imagine that you're speaking directly to God when you speak to him. When you find yourself saying words without meaning, keep on. Keep on until you have spoken the prayer directly from your heart and not a mechanical prayer. Talk to God as if he is your best friend who just happens to live in your heart. Psalm 46 tells us, it is in the stillness that the Lord meets you when you seek him. Make sure to give God a chance to answer you, to direct you, and to guide you. He presents himself in the stillness. Be intentional about being still. Find a way or a place to get close to God in your heart and in your mind. Speak to him and honor him and ask him to be with you and to guide you. Then stay still for a while. If your mind drifts to your to-do list, pull it back and bring God back to the center. Do not be discouraged or stop seeking if you don't get an answer or continue to be distracted. Just know he loves you and he is there just waiting just for you. Consult God's instruction and testimony of warning. In Isaiah it says, if anyone does not speak according to his word, they have no light or truth in them. God's word is a written guide for us to help us to know him. Use it to seek him. When we seek Jesus, we spend time in the word. We can experience Jesus intimately in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But seeking is more than simple mechanical reading. Seeking happens when we feel the message and we receive it in our heart. We should try to walk along beside Jesus in the Gospels. Don't just read the words like it's an assignment. See what he saw. Feel what he felt. If you find yourself skimming or reading without getting any meaning or without it touching your heart, go back. Read it again and again until you make that connection with the words in your heart. Matthew 18:20 tells us, "For where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I am with them." The community can mean your church, but a community can mean just a simple group of Christians gathered. Now, seeking takes place in the heart. So it doesn't seem logical that we'd be that seeking would involve a community. However, community matters